Welcome everyone to the Ichigo Abroad podcast. My name is Lisa and I am Saratoga Knitting on Ravelry and Instagram, and my daughter Sophia is Ichigo Knitter on Instagram and on Ravelry. So I'd like to say welcome today. Once again, it's very hot here in Marblehead today. It was even hotter yesterday, so I'm going to try to do this in the morning. I'm under the shade, so hopefully you'll get a nice view of our yard, and we can just get started. We're going to do a couple of different things today. I have some finished objects because it's been about 3 weeks. I have some works in progress. I have some new purchases, crazy as that may sound, and I have an upcoming project I wanted to talk about, and then I'm going to have just some regular chatter and a giveaway today. So let's get started. Some of my finished objects. I have 3 this time because it's been a few weeks since I last recorded. The first is the Talisman Shawl, and this is by Helen Stewart of the Curious Handmade podcast. This is part of her Shawl Society package of shawls, and so you purchase, it's a mystery shawl package. You purchase the package and you get, I think, 6 shawls, so 1 per month. And this is the first one. It's called the Talisman Shawl. It's now up for purchase as a single shawl pattern on Ravelry. So it's really beautiful. It's a very simple pattern. It's mostly just knit and stockinette, and then it just has a few rows of a little bit of texture patterning, which you can kind of see when the light shines through it, which I really like. And then it has just a little bit of lace at the bottom with a picot bind off. I was kind of dreading the picot bind off, but it really wasn't that bad. There's just not that many points actually to do, so it wasn't too bad at all. I really love the color. As I had mentioned before, this is some mystery some mystery fiber that I hand spun. I'm not sure where I got it or what it is, but it's probably merino because it's super soft, and the colors are just beautiful. I love the way that they kind of semi-stripe in this, and this is just going to be a really nice shawl to kind of put around your shoulders, or wear a little bit in the fall and the winter with this really nice pretty coloring on the bottom, on the edges. I'm really happy with this, and I highly recommend the shawl. It's really beautiful and easy, fun, intuitive knit to do, so I really like it. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. My second knit is the test knit that I was doing for Sarah of the Knitting Nerdy and Natural podcast, and this is her Impasto Shawl. As I said, I don't know if it's out yet, but when it does come out, I highly recommend it. It was a really interesting knit. It's interesting construction and interesting patterning, but once you get it, you can kind of see where it's going, and you can just keep on knitting, and you don't really have to refer to the pattern very often. And so I'm really happy. I'm really happy with it. So this is it. It's basically a triangular shawl that moves out from the middle. I did the pattern that has each side is exactly the same. She does have a version where each side kind of goes a little bit wonky, so it looks a little asymmetrical in the striping. But I'm just one of those people. I like the symmetrical look of a piece. And this was the orange was hand spun that I did, and I'm pretty sure it's alpaca. And the brown is some yarn that I picked up at the fiber tour that I went on, and off of the swap table there, and I think it really looks great together. The colors look really nice. It blocked out beautifully, so you can actually see the pattern. Let's see if the light is right, but you can see the pattern. It kind of meanders up and down. It's really super pretty texture. It's lovely. I'm very happy with the way this turned out. And again, it'll be just a great piece to kind of wrap around your shoulders, around your neck in the fall. So when it comes out, I'll let you know, and I highly recommend it. I thought this was a really great, fun knit. Good job, Sarah. I really like this a lot. I really had a good time test knitting that for you. And then the third thing is a little bit of spinning that I did. Last time we spoke, I had told you I'm still working my way through my Nunoco mini bats box, and so I picked out a mini bat that was kind of a green gradient, and then a mini bat that was pure white, and I wanted to put those two together, and so that's what I did. And I spun them up as singles, and I think they just came out really nice. It's not a whole heck of a lot of yarn because they are just mini bats, but I think the colors are beautiful. I really think it's just gorgeous, and you could use this as an accent piece, maybe at the top and the bottom of a cowl. You could use it for some striping in some type of a shawl. Really, there's lots of little things that you could do with this. It's very, very soft yarn, so it's certainly against the skin. You could use it maybe as cuffs, you know, on a pair of mitts, something like that. But I think I'm actually going to gift this to a friend of mine because it has some sparkle. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but because the sun isn't shining right on it, but it has quite a bit of sparkle in it because it has some stellina in it. That was really kind of fun to spin, and she needs a little sparkle in her life, so I'm going to be sending this out to you. You'll know who you are when you get it. Alrighty, and so those are my finished objects this week. So now we can move on to works in progress. Now on to some works in progress. And I know you're all waiting for this. I know you're all waiting for this. I'm pretty excited about it as well. I have finished 2 sleeves on my Bohus blue shimmer sweater, and I am actually on to the body. Woohoo! This is amazing. Look at those sleeves, yes! And I'm on to the body. It's going to take me weeks to finish the body, but at least I got there. I feel like I've really made some great progress on this. What I'm trying to do is every morning when I get up and have my coffee, I'm trying to make this the piece that I pick up just to knit a little bit on. So I figure if I get a couple of rows in a day, I will eventually get it done. This was crazy this week though. I finished 1 sleeve of it, and then I went to the 2nd sleeve, and it's not like the sleeves are complicated or anything. There's, you know, you just do some easy decreases down, but again, it's because it's black. It's totally black yarn, and it's really hard to see. So the 2nd sleeve, for some reason, every single time I got down to the last decrease, I made a mistake, and I didn't have the right number of stitches, and it was just, you know, it was nothing wrong with the pattern. It was just totally me as a knitter. I just was not doing the right thing. And then what I did, and again, why this was in my head, I don't know, because I had already done the 1st sleeve. The ribbing is done on a smaller needle, so it gets kind of really, it's going to be, you know, snug right up to your wrist here like this, which is perfectly fine. It's on a smaller needle, and it's 1 by 1 rib, so it's knit 1, purl 1. In my head, I had knit 2, purl 2, and I can't tell you. I think I ripped this little piece out, I have to say, at least 3 times, because each time I'm like, oh, I did the wrong thing. It's not knit 2, purl 2. It's knit 1, purl 1. And I literally did this like 3 times. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are you doing? And so finally the last time I'm like, no, I really have to like just sit and concentrate and say, this is what I'm going to do. It is 1 by 1 rib, knit 1, purl 1. And so I finally got it, and then you have to do it for like 3 inches, but unbelievable. I'm like, it's a little bit of a cuff. Why is this such a problem? But you know, those are the little things about knitting. Then, as I said, I picked up the body, so it's really going. It's going very, very well. I don't have any decreases or anything. It's just basically a box shape, so it's going to go straight down from here. And then when I get to the point where I want to do the ribbing, again, I will be doing the ribbing 1 by 1 ribbing to make sure. Although if I start at 2 by 2, it won't make that much difference on the, you know, on the bottom ribbing. But I'm really happy with this, and it is moving forward. I know I had posted a picture on Instagram showing that I had finished the sleeves, and people were like, yay, put it on quick, go out and wear it even though it's hot. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's just the sleeves, it's not the body yet. So I'm working on that though. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So that actually is coming along, and it really won't take that long to finish now that it's just basically knitting around and around and around, as long as I have the light to see it. So I'm pretty happy with that. The second pattern, I think I showed this, maybe I didn't, I can't remember when I started this, but I was gifted I think I did show this. I was gifted this pattern by, let me grab it, by Mary Lucas. It's called the Added Elegance Sock. So I decided to start those with the yarn I got at the local yarn store, Marblehead Knits, and I'm a very bad podcaster because I can't remember the name of this. I'm thinking maybe it was a Cascade. I'm going to go in there today and see if I can find out what the name the name of it is, but they're really coming out very, very cute. Very, very cute. Super, super cute. So this is, it's like candy cane. It's like, yeah, it's really pretty cute yarn, but it has a, it's got a little kind of a mock cable down the side of the sock. Each one is different, so they're going to mirror each other. So this is the left sock, so the cable is on kind of the left side of the foot, and then the other one that will be on the right side of the foot. But it's a really great pattern. Again, I highly recommend it. It's really nice. I'm just doing my usual toe up with the pattern, and I did the fish slips kiss heel as well. But these are really fun. These are kind of my lunchtime knitting, and they're just so bright and cheery, and I just love the color of the yarn, and I'm really going to be happy with them. They're also very soft, so I'm going to be very, very happy with those when they are finished. So I've been working quite a bit on that. And then my last piece was, again, just kind of, you know, giving yourself the freedom to do what you want with your projects. I had shown you before, I had started a pattern called the Cuboid Cowl by Versace Knits, and I really liked the pattern, and I will knit it. But this is the yarn that I got, again, at the Washington County Fiber Tour that I went on, and I got this from the Batten Kill Mill. And they're these really two great colors that I thought, kind of an eggplanty color, and this limey kind of green color. It's so really contrasting. I wanted to do something contrasting, and the Cuboid Cowl was great for that. It's a slip stitch pattern, but I really wasn't enjoying it. I'm just not sure why. It wasn't the pattern. I'm thinking maybe it was the yarn or the needles that I was using. I wasn't enjoying it, and I would start it, and I would do a row, and I would put it down, and I'm like, so I really want to use this yarn, and I wanted to make some type of a cowl with it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, just go with my instincts right now, and you just got to give yourself the freedom to say, I don't really want to do this particular pattern right now. As I said, it's a great pattern, and I will do it in something else. But I may do it with. It may just be because this is kind of, it's like a little more organic, crunchy yarn. It's not. It's not hard or scratchy, but it's a little thicker, and it's. They're probably, it's run by a local mill, so it's commercial, but it's not as commercial, as say as you might find it with a Cascade 220, something like that. So I think probably I might do the cuboid with something like that, a real commercial yarn, as opposed to one that was spun at a local mill, because this really is just organic. It just has this really great crunchy feel to it, and look to it, and it's a little bit fuzzy, which also wasn't looking so great, I don't think, with the Cuboid Cowl pattern. So what I decided to do, I looked around, and I'm doing it's called the Foolproof Cowl, and it's by Louise Zass Bangham, and it's on Ravelry. And I think it looks like it was a mystery cowl pattern a few years ago, but all the pieces of the pattern are out now, and it's really interesting. Again, it's really one of these interesting construction knits, which I really enjoy. It kind of keeps your brain going. All right, I wanted to pop in here, a new day, but it looks like my camera petered out before I actually showed you the new project that I was working on, the Foolproof Cowl by Louise Zass Bangham, and it's really cool. As I said yesterday, I ripped out the other cowl that I was working on, and I've decided to work on this. And it is so cool. It starts out looking like it's going to be a shawl, and then the construction you move over to a second piece where you have all these different stripes. I'm not quite sure how it's all going to come together, but I'm really enjoying it, and I think this is the better choice for this particular yarn. It feels really good when I'm working with it on this size needle, and just in this pattern. I think it likes having these large chunks of color and not so much change, and you don't notice the fuzziness as much here, but I think it's really going to be pretty cool. And as I said, it was a mystery knit along, and it's going to be a cowl, and I'm not quite sure how it's all going to come together, but I'm really looking forward to it. An upcoming project that I'm going to start working on, not yet, probably closer to the end of the summer. I want to get some of the other things closer to being finished before I start this. But a couple of weeks ago, I just happened to be looking on Instagram. We're always on Instagram, aren't we? There's no doubt about that. but I happened to be on Instagram and I caught a post by Vero of the Along the Lanes podcast. And she had said that it was Isolde Teague's birthday, and because it was Isolde Teague's birthday, she was going to do a little giveaway on her Instagram account, and you just needed to make a comment and say what is your favorite Isolde Teague pattern, and then she was going to choose someone and she would gift that pattern to them. So I went along and I looked at all of Isolde's patterns and I chose one, and lo and behold, I had a message the next day from Vero saying that I was the lucky winner of the pattern and that she was going to gift it to me, and I was so excited about that. So nice. I love all of Isolde Teague's patterns, but the one I chose, not thinking I was really going to get it, but the one I chose, let me see if it'll come out here. It's called, you can see this, you can see the house there, but it's called the Bruntsfield Vest. And it is a Fair Isle vest, so you know I'm really into Fair Isle after doing the Blue Shimmer shawl. I'm really excited about that. So this is a Fair Isle vest that has steeking in it. Tracy, I'm going to have to steek this this vest, and I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, I still haven't, I haven't purchased a pattern that needs steeks on my own yet. I did watch my sister-in-law Tracy do it. I helped her do it, and she did a Kate Davies cardigan pattern, and it wasn't that bad, but it's one of those techniques I just haven't done yet, and I know that we need to kind of expand our repertoire of techniques, and so now I'm going to do it. But like I said, I probably won't do it maybe until later in the summer or early in the fall. And I have a lot of Knit Picks palette still left over from the Blue Shimmer sweater, and I also have some left over from Sophia. She had given me some she had in her stash. So I'm going to do some interesting colors, I think. This is the color that I'm going to start with. This is called, it's called Regal, but it's kind of, this is really pretty purple color. I really like this. And then I'm going to add to it, this is called the Wallaby. So this is another color that I'm going to add to it. And then I think I'm probably going to add as another color the Silver palette, Knit Picks palette. And I'm trying to remember, I don't remember, I don't have it, I have it in front of me, but I don't have it open. I think there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 colors, maybe even 6 colors. So I'm going to add some more to it, but this is going to be my start. And then yesterday I got the spring spin-off magazine copy, and they have a little article on William Morris in the William Morris colors, and it's really for more doing embroidery with yarn. But look at these great colors, and I'm like, wow, I'm really drawn to that. And here I have this lovely purple color already, and I kind of have this brownish color, and I have the silver color. So I'm thinking I might pull out look for some type of a green color to add to that as my next step. So this just kind of gives you an idea of kind of where my thinking is going in doing a project like this. I know the yarn that I'm going to use. I'm really excited about that. I know the type of yarn, and I'm working on the color selection. I really need to make sure that they all go together. I think that they will, and I think that pop of green in there will be really interesting as well. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I will keep you posted as I finish my color selection on that and as we get started. So if anyone else is interested in doing a Fair Isle shawl this fall, let me know, because I could easily do kind of an informal knit-along if anybody else is interested in doing some color work. Doesn't have to be steeking, it can really be anything, but keep that in mind, and I'll talk more about that as we get closer and as I get closer to doing this, because I can always use some support on a project like this. All right, so now I think we will move on. All right. Different day, magic of the internet, magic of video. It just got so hot yesterday that I just couldn't keep recording outside, so I thought I would put it away for the day. Yesterday was just crazy humid, and
and hot. And it's still warm today, but there's a nice breeze coming through. It's still hot outside, so I thought I would I'd forego that for the rest of the podcast. And just come in here. I've got a nice breeze coming through. I think the cat's sound asleep, so I don't think she'll be popping in over here, but she might. You never know. You never know. Anyway, I thought I would just move on to some chatter. And we also have a new giveaway that I'm going to set up this week, which is very, very nice, very exciting. The first thing that's the most important in our lives right now is that our house sold. It's sold. The money's in the bank. It's done. We are out of there. I can't even tell you how happy I am. It has been such a long time. It's been since beginning of last June. So it has been over a year. We've gone back and forth. We had one buyer who backed out, and then we have the second buyer, and then we went through all that craziness with the construction on our house, and it was a nightmare. And I'm so happy that it's done. I'm so happy that it's done. So yeah, that's my best news of the entire year is to have the house sold. So what probably is going to happen is that in September, I think at the beginning of September, we're probably going to move out of my in-laws' house and move into an apartment here in Marblehead, and then we'll be there for a while. And we're just going to relax. We're going to figure out where we're going to go next, but I think we're going to take a few months and just relax, not talk about a house, not talk about buying, not talk about selling, nothing. Just relax, enjoy our lives, which I'm really looking forward to. Sophia is soon leaving for Japan. So exciting. She'll actually be here next weekend. We're going to have another family party for her here in Marblehead, which will be a lot of fun. And then she will leave really 2 weeks from yesterday. So 2 weeks. So on the 30th of July, she'll be flying out to Japan. And since she's going to be here next week, we'll podcast together, and she'll tell you all about it and fill you in on what's happening on her end. But it'll be really great to see her before she heads off on her next life adventure. I thought today I just kind of wanted to talk about some favorite things of mine. And really the reason I was thinking about it is because I pulled out a piece that was actually, there was one morning it was a little cool when I got up pretty early, and so I actually pulled it out. This is a piece that I kind of have sitting around in the living room wherever I am, and it's something I just pull out in the mornings to keep me warm. It's a Clapotis by Kate Gilbert. The pattern came out in Knitty Fall of 2004, I think. It was a long time ago, and this is such a cool pattern because it's an asymmetrical shawl, and you drop stitches to create the texture, and I remember seeing this when it first came out, and I so wanted to knit it. I so wanted to knit it. And I remember not having enough yarn. And I had to purchase enough yarn, and I kept thinking about it and what weight of yarn did I want to use. And, I was a newer knitter, new coming back to knitting, at that point in time. I guess I had been doing it for, come back in a few years. But, knitting was just the place to go, and this was just such a great pattern, and it took off. So everyone was knitting the Clapotis as well, and I really wanted to do it. And I remember ordering some yarn. I don't know that it was special, but it was from some yarn, and I ordered it off of Etsy, and I really liked the color. It was going to be a deep blue, and then when it showed up, it really wasn't what I was expecting, and I was away for a weekend when I got it, and I saved it, and this was going to be my knitting project for this weekend. I was going to start the Clapotis, and it was just one of those, what it's like when you've got everything ready, and you're ready to go, and you want to sit down, and you want to cast on and get it done. And unfortunately, the yarn that I purchased really wasn't, I don't remember, I have no idea what it was, and as I said, I got it from a seller off of Etsy. It didn't look exactly the way I thought it was going to look. The color wasn't exactly the way I thought it was going to be, and I also think at the time that it might have had some like stellina in it, and I tried casting it on, and it wasn't working with the needles that I had. I was so frustrated, and it was just so frustrating. And so I think what I ended up doing was actually finally ordering online some, it was probably maybe Lorna's Laces. It was very expensive at the time, and that's why I just thought, I remember doing it because I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that I really make this pattern and really like it, because this yarn that I'm ordering is expensive, because it was lace. So it was hand dyed, and not lace. I mean, it was a silk blend. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful, and it was in all these purple colors and just shades of purple, and it was gorgeous. And I actually still have it, and I don't have it with me today because it's actually at work. It's one of those things that I bring into, and I can just throw around if I'm a little cool at work. So I enjoyed it. The first time I dropped the stitches was very, very scary, but then when it worked out, it was great. And so it's kind of one of those patterns that I think about a lot because I really enjoyed making it. And again, and I think for me, it's because it has a little interest. It's not just a straight shot. You know, you're working asymmetrically, so you're adding stitches and knitting two together to kind of make a, you know, make that asymmetrical shape. Plus, you get to drop stitches, and they drop all the way down, and that's perfect. It's exactly what you want it to do. So I've made, I think this is the second one that I've made, and I'm thinking about making another one because I really enjoyed the pattern. But this is really, it's crazy. It's one of my favorites. It doesn't look like much. This is just some worsted weight yarn. I don't even know what this was. I might have made something, I ripped it out, or maybe we purchased some. But this is the Clapotis that I have, and it's got tons of pills. I think it maybe even went into the washing machine and the dryer once, but I caught it in the dryer, so it's still, you know, it's a tiny bit felted, but it's beautiful, and it has these really great colors on it. And you know, it's a fairly long piece. It takes quite a bit of yarn, and you know, there's two stories that I have with this. As I said, I grab this out in the morning if I'm cool and throw it around my shoulders. And I wouldn't go out with this because it's, you know, it's not a beautiful piece, but for me, it's a favorite. It's very comforting. And I remember knitting on this. Tracy, my sister-in-law Tracy, and I went to a yoga retreat weekend at the Crepallo estate in Western Massachusetts. And that was just a very, very special weekend. We both really needed a getaway, and it was just really a very special weekend. And part of that time that we were there, we sat in front of the windows looking out at the beautiful mountains, and she was knitting on her project, and I was knitting on this. So I always remember sitting at Crepallo and knitting on this particular piece. So that has some really nice memories for me as well. And the second reason why this has some memories is that you'll notice the colors. It's a little crazy here on both ends. And what this is from a project we did, Kool-Aid dyeing, and I did this with Sophia, and this was during her senior year of high school. And I think I probably mentioned this before, but when she was a senior, we hosted a Japanese exchange student for her senior year. And her name was Misaki. So she was the same age as Sophia, and she went to Sophia's school with her, so she was in her senior class with her. So she was here for the entire school year, so September through June. And Misaki was fascinated with knitting. When she first came, you know, I was knitting at the time, and she was just, you know, I want to learn how to do that. Can you show me how to do that? So we got her some yarn, and she was one of those people that just, you know, she took instruction well, but then she was like, I can do this. I know how to do it. I'm going to do it. And she just spent hours trying to figure out how to do something, how to make a pattern, how to do something. And she actually got pretty good. She was very fast, very intense about it. So anyway, but one of the things that we did while she was there was we did a little experiment in dyeing. And I'm not a big fan of doing the dyeing. It doesn't interest me that much. But what this was kind of interesting, because we had some balls of this yarn, which is why I say I don't think it was anything fancy. Maybe it was Cascade 220, something like that. But it wasn't anything too fancy. And we had some of these balls of yarn. So each of us had two skeins really of yarn that we wound them up into a center pole ball. And then we used Kool-Aid dyes. And what you do is you put the Kool-Aid in the water. You could Google this. I don't know. I found a tutorial online for us to do this. you put the boiling water and you put the Kool-Aid into it, and then you let the water cool down a little bit, but not completely. And then you put the ball, the wound up ball of yarn, the center pole ball of yarn, into the hot water with the Kool-Aid dye in it. And what happens is that the water and the dye soak into the ball of yarn, but because it's wrapped in a ball, it doesn't, the color doesn't get all the way to the middle of the skein of yarn. So when you start, if you start knitting, you can either start from the inside or you can start from the outside of it, and all the saturated color is on the outside, and then it starts to get speckled as you get closer and closer to the middle, where there's less and less of the dye has actually worked into the yarn. And so I had 2 balls that I did, and I used this obviously is the cherry flavor of the Kool-Aid. And so what I ended up doing is, I think I started the Clapotis on one end from the outside on one ball, and then when I finished up that ball, I started the second ball, added the second ball on, but I started from the inside. And so then I ended up in the end is where, the other end is where the color came out. So it's really kind of cool. So every time I look at this, I remember dyeing those balls of yarn with Sophia and Misaki. I remember our year with Misaki. I remember, I remember senior year, and just having so much fun with, with the girls and with knitting. And I said, it's just kind of, it wraps around, and it keeps me warm, and I can just throw it anywhere. So this is one of my absolute favorite things. It's nothing fancy. It doesn't look fancy, but I really like it. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I really enjoyed knitting this. I remember when I knit it. I remember who I was knitting it with. And I remember the excitement and the joy about it. And it's a favorite thing. It's a favorite thing for me. And so I'm assuming that everybody has something kind of like this. I did make a few purchases this week just because I was excited. There were things I was going to do anyway, but I was excited about the house closing. So that was really very nice. So I thought I made a purchase from Sarah's Texture Crafts from England. Here's Sarah here. Sarah's Texture Crafts, and she does beautiful yarn, and she does beautiful hand-painted roving as well. And this is what I got. The color is called the Moors. It's merino, and it's 100 grams of this merino, and it's really beautiful. I love the colors. I think they're really gorgeous. They're very, very muted, heathery, lavendery colors. So it just reminds you of a field of flowers later in the spring or earlier in the summer, but very muted colors, kind of on the moors, as you would think. And I actually got 2 braids of this. So what I'm going to do is I plan to spin this up, and I'm going to make another Clapotis. So I'm really looking forward to this. So this will be kind of a long-term project, obviously, because I need to spin the yarn as well. But I'm going to do that, and I thought it would be a really fun thing to do, just to talk about. And I'll be talking about it as I go. And if anybody else, you should look up the pattern. It's really quite fun. And as I said, everybody, you probably know it. Everybody was knitting it around that time, 2004, 2005, 2006. People were just going crazy with the Clapotis. It's such a great pattern. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now I also made a purchase from Carol of the Foster Sheep Farm, and Tracy and I have gone to the Foster Sheep Farm a couple of times. We usually stop in when we are at the end of the Washington County Fiber Tour. Carol is not technically part of Washington County. She's part of Saratoga County, but where we were living in Saratoga, it was really a close place to go. And she has a wonderful sheep farm, and she has a wonderful shop right in her house, which is great. Last time we were there for at the fiber tour, at the end of the fiber tour, because Sarah Pomegranate had gotten Tracy spinning on her spindle, we actually stopped there to buy Tracy some more fiber to keep trying her spindle spinning. I actually hadn't purchased anything there, not for any particular reason, but I think that the couple of times that we went, Tracy was really looking for something. So I wanted to get some stuff from Carol, and so what I wanted to do is to get some more spinning spinning supplies from her. And this is what I decided on. It's a really basic, it's a nice basic color. These are pin drafted rovings dyed by Carol herself. And it's 50% Foster Farm Romney and 50% Merino. So it should be super soft. And it's a beautiful, lovely fawn color. Maybe some of it out, gives you a little bit. Yeah, look at that. It's not even coming out. It's beautiful, soft, heathered, very, very light fawn brown color. So this is going to be really nice. I'm sure I will spin this. I'll probably either apply it with something else or you know, knit it with something else. So I'm not quite sure. I don't have plans for this other than spinning it up and knowing that I really wanted to get some of the fiber from her sheep. So supporting what was my local sheep farm, but I really like her stuff, and this was I was really excited to get this. Now, Carol also very, very generously, she sent along a second bag, and this is a bag of again 100% Foster Farm pin drafted wool. It's 80% Romney and 20% Wensleydale, and there are 4 ounces of it. And again, and this is a lovely, actually, I'll take this out as well. This is much more of a, ooh, this is beautiful. This has, this is a light brown color, but it has lots of gray in it. This will spin up absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful, and it's again so soft. Oh, that's wonderful. So she basically has given this to us to give away for the podcast. So I'm really excited about this. So what I thought I would ask everyone to do, and I'll set up a thread in the Ravelry group, the Ichigo Abroad Ravelry group. And what I would like you to do, if you're interested in winning this beautiful roving from Carol's Foster Sheep Farm, is to put a picture in of what your favorite project is or was. It doesn't have to be, like I said, anything fancy, but putting a picture of a favorite piece, a favorite project that you completed that's for you, not for somebody else. I think this is going to be something that was that you really enjoy, you still enjoy, you made it for yourself. Doesn't matter how old it is, doesn't have to be new at all, but I'm just really curious to see what other people think of as their favorite projects. And we'll leave that up probably, I don't know, probably maybe one of the podcasts sometime in August. We'll do the draw for that. This will be a beautiful spin for someone this coming winter. All right, so let's move on. I actually have I have some other information to tell you. So let's move on to extra stuff. I just have some additional information, just if anybody is interested in the area. Carol let me know that for the Adirondack Fiber Festival this year, which is September 24th and 25th of 2016, and it's held at the Greenwich Fairgrounds in Greenwich, New York, which was very close to where we lived. It's just right outside of Schuylerville, which was kind of where our base was for the fiber tour. But it's a great local fiber fest. I actually haven't been to it. I think my sister-in-law Tracy had gone to it before, but I actually never had. For some reason, I would have been working. It just never came together for me to be able to go. But Carol was telling me that Amy King is going to be teaching there this year, and I just wanted to give a shout out to her because I love Amy King. Amy King is the owner and dyer of Spunky Eclectic fiber and yarns. So I, for years and years and years, was a member of the Spunky Eclectic Fiber of the Month Club. And I'm sure over the past I've probably shown you things that I've spun from her beautiful yarn. I mean her beautiful fiber. And basically, what she would do for the monthly, you didn't know what it was going to be. Sometimes it was really special fiber. Sometimes it was just just your workaday wool fiber. but her colors were fantastic. And I think you got 4 ounces every month. And the only reason I stopped doing it is because I got too far behind. I had a whole bunch all piled up. I just wasn't spinning it fast enough, but I just love her color aesthetic. Oh my gosh, so cool. And she's doing 2 classes this year. She's doing a Get Fleeced class. And that, I think it's going to be all about processing a fleece. How do you choose a fleece? What do you do with it? How do you deal with having a fleece so that you can get it to where you can knit with it? And then her second class is called All About Color, and that is going to be fantastic. She's just going to talk about how to spin yarn. You have some beautiful colored roving and you don't really know what to do with it, because sometimes you have to be careful, because if you just kind of go ahead and spin it and then apply it together, the colors get muddy. Because they're mixing together in no particular way, and it just it doesn't come out quite the way you might think about that you thought it was going to end up. But Amy is going to give tons of tips on how to deal with color when you have roving, and how you can spin it to get it to be exactly what you want it to do. And I just thought I would show you. I don't have any of her fiber left. I guess I probably have gone through it all now, but I just wanted to show you. She always, in the fiber club, you get a little sheet that came with it to tell you exactly what the fiber was and what the mix was, and then there'd be a little story about what her, what her inspiration was for that. Maybe she saw some pheasants out, by her yard, and she really liked those colors, and so that's kind of what she was thinking when she dyed them. So she has all kinds of different ideas in coloring, and this was totally one of my favorites. These are socks. Again, these are socks I made years ago when I first got into the club, but I love this. Can you see this? These are so awesome. And the colorway of this is called That Time of the Month. All right, I'm just saying, I feel like the fat squirrel. I'm just saying, that time of the month. Is this perfect or what? Perfect. I really enjoyed spinning this up, and I just knit socks out of it. I thought they were just fantastic. It was so much fun. But anyway, if you have a chance to go to it, you definitely should, because it will be fantastic. She's going to be a fantastic teacher, and I think it'll be great. Both of those classes will be great. So now let's just move on and we'll finish up. I guess that's it for today. As I said, the next time we'll see Miss Sophia with me. Very exciting to have her back again so we can podcast together before she goes to Japan. So that will be pretty exciting. And I think we've got some plans of some things to talk about. So remember, just feel free to friend me on or follow me on Instagram, Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry. And Sophia is Ichigo Knitter on Instagram and Ravelry. She has some other accounts as well, and I always forget what those are, but she'll tell you about them next week. Anyway, have a great week. Bye.